Hey everyone, welcome back to the shop. My name is Matt Kubik, and today we're working on the Ultimate Crew Cab. It is time to strip this thing down. We had it together for mock-up. I'm going to strip it down and start some rust repair and body work, so let me go fill you guys in with what I've been doing. Alright guys, like I said, it's time to strip the cab down. I did all the mock-up that I can while I have the truck here. As you saw in the last episode, we got a lot of the wiring kind of figured out, and some of the other little things that kind of I wanted to get figured out before we stripped it down, because I had to cut holes in the firewall here, and also got the brakes, the master and everything all sorted out. One thing I've sorted out since the last time you've seen this truck is the shifter linkage. Now, where this isn't really required before I strip the thing down, I still wanted to kind of get an idea, because I have to paint the steering column, and if I was going to modify the steering column, I wanted to know beforehand, because I'm going to plan on getting the steering column and the door cards painted while I have all this apart. I have the door cards over here. They're actually in pretty nice shape, but I figured since we're doing all new paint, you know, they have little scuffs and dings from being used over the years. But we're going to color match the door cards there, so we have that perfect color, and going to paint the steering column as well. So I have the linkage all figured out. I'm gonna play with it a little bit more, because it's binding up on the lower gears, like, you know, the manual shift and everything. But it is shifting quite well in the other gears. That rod in there just kind of binds a little bit, so I have to kind of tweak the angle. But you see there, I have it hooked up to the steering column there, and then I have a bell crank on the bell housing, and then it goes back to the shifter rod. The reason for the bell crank, for one, the shift arm on the transmission on the 6R140 is way back there, and you can't just get a straight line from the column to the transmission like I did on my Ultimate Highboy, because it has a 6R80 and it is a much smaller, physically smaller transmission, and the shift linkage was like up here, where I could just do a straight rod down to that. And the direction is wrong, so I had to change the direction. So, you know, this goes down where this needs to pull forward to shift. On the Ultimate Highboy, I alleviated that by flipping the arm on the transmission upside down, but on this one it would make it hit the transmission pan mount and have to space it out, and it gets kind of janky. I didn't really like that idea, and it makes it lower to the ground and kind of interferes with more stuff. So I added that bell crank there, and that does the job well. And it also increases the ratio, because this transmission has so many detents in the transmission, because it has park, neutral, or park, reverse, neutral, drive, manual, 3, 2, 1. So it has a lot. So by using this bell crank with the different positions, I was able to multiply the amount that the shifter moves, and the drive, reverse, neutral, that all lines up with the detents in the transmission, because these detents are all in the transmission. They're not in this shifter. The only thing this does is it does lock out park. You have to pull the handle back, then it goes in the reverse, and neutral, drive. But when you go up, you can't go just straight up from drive to reverse. You have to actually pull it up, so, you know, to make sure you actually want to go in reverse, you don't accidentally put it in the reverse when you're trying to pop it in neutral or something of that nature. So all that works, and it all lines up, so that's working out really great. As I said, I have to I'm going to strip the steering column down, and we're going to paint this this red color. I just had the steering wheel on there just to make sure it all works together, because this is a 76 Highboy, automatic Highboy steering column. So we have the Highboy shaft here that has the spline output. That's a lot easier to connect to the Super Duty steering gear over here. We'll do all that on final assembly. I actually have the parts somewhere. Here is my steering shaft, and I actually had to get, this is the one that connects to the steering column, and here's my steering gear. Borgeson was really helpful in getting me all this figured out, because I'm using a steering gear out of like a 2015 2016 Super Duty that goes on this truck, and it has a different I think they call it a Ford Y connector, and I couldn't find one. I actually bought one that I thought fit, and it was actually wrong, and I was kind of thinking, oh no, I bought this brand new steering gear and I can't get a joint to fix it. But they actually make a replacement column for a Super Duty, and they have the steering joint right here that goes onto the Super Duty steering gear for this year. They Super Duty changed, or Ford changed the outputs or the inputs on the steering gear. They were splined. The one on my Ultimate Highboy over there is splined, so it was really easy to find a joint. But this one's different. So I called them up, actually emailed them, and within 2 emails they said, yeah, we make this joint. We don't sell it separately, but we'll sell you one. So sent them some money, and they sent me this thing. And then we just have a universal double D, I think is what they call this, shaft with adjustment there. And this one goes to the Highboy steering column, so we have the spline there and the joint for this. And I'll just cut this down to the length I need. So that's all, you know, figured out. So happy to have that stuff kind of figured out. The seats here, I have the bucket seats, and I'm going to sit in here just for a mock-up. And we're obviously going to recover them. But just wanted to kind of get a feel for this in here. I really like the atmosphere that these bucket seats give in this crew cab. I was kind of thinking I would get some kind of center console to put in here, but I actually think I like the open part right here, because that floor is really not very far. I think you could put some cup holders there on the floor, Velcro them to the carpet or something, so they stay put, so you have a spot for a cup. But I really like the open floor pan idea without a center console. Let me know what you guys think. But we're obviously going to have a bench back here. And I have the toolbox, the behind the seat toolbox I'm going to use in here. It is a little rough. There's some spots like right here I have to fix. I'm going to see if I can kind of epoxy that up and make it look decent. I'll probably have to paint it and stuff, but we'll see how that looks. The mounting holes are different because this is a 72 cab. It has the 5 fuel tank bolts that go all the way through the cab, and this box is out of a 69, so it just has the 3. So what I'm going to end up doing is drill holes for the 5, and then I'm going to put a plate of aluminum right through here with the holes in it, and then I'm going to sandwich it all in together, because these mounting holes are kind of, that one over there is kind of broken. You can see that. So, you know, rather than risk breaking this thing some more, it's kind of fragile, I'm going to sandwich it all together with that piece of aluminum, just kind of suck it up in there. And then it uses these bottom plates to hold the bottom, and those go into the cab mount bolts. So that'll all work as intended. But for now, I'm going to finish stripping this cab down, and we have some rust repair we got to do. I have some pieces for the cab corners. This piece, I was debating on what to do with that inner piece, because it's not terrible, but it has rust way up here up top. And I decided just to get the full replacements, and I'm going to cut it all out and replace it. Same thing with the outer right here. We're going to cut all this out and replace it. So it has some rust down here in the corner, and it has this big dent right here. So we're going to eliminate all that all in one fell swoop. The other side I've already done. I did that before we went to blasting. And I have the pieces right here for the lower door section. I'm going to use those on the rear doors. I'm going to have to cut them down, obviously. And then we have little dents and dings around the thing I have to fix. Like this right here. That's going to be, you have to pull it out, because you're going to see that in the bed. I have a gas neck filler panel, because we're using the chassis fuel tank and obviously the behind the seat toolbox. So I'm going to fill this gas snake filler hole. So yeah, it's coming right along. I think I'm going to try to get a rotisserie to get this cab on, because I've been wanting to get one, and this will be a perfect project to put on the rotisserie to do all that rust repair. And I'm going to do sound deadening and stuff under the floor, on the floor, and coat the bottom. And if I was on a rotisserie, that would make that a lot easier. So, but I've been working on the body work, and I've actually done most of the work on the bed here already, just kind of getting it filled out and getting a plan together. or practicing really on the bed. The bed was actually in really good shape, so it didn't need a ton. But being able to play around with that body filler and get the panels all straight and blocking and everything. So I've been working on this. I actually took an online paint and body course. Kevin Tate's with Paintucation University. He has an online course, and it's not a replacement for an in-person course where you're going to be actually doing the stuff and really learning it and be able to go out and like do everything right away out of your course. It's kind of like you learn everything, and you kind of got to, I don't know how to put it. I mean, it's not a replacement for an in-person class, I guess I should say. So you're going to learn a lot of things with that course on the paint chemistry, the methods, and how everything goes together as far as the layers of paint and the primers and different kind of paints and all the little things that you need to know on that kind of stuff. It's really good for that. So I've been taking that course, and it's really helped me out with this, and I got a really good idea on the body work on this thing. Got it really smooth now. So there was some lows and highs. We got some body filler in. I'm going to paint this in an epoxy primer, but I'm going to wait to do that until I got the bed or the cab to this level, so I can do them both at the same time, because I'm going to kind of rig up a paint environment here to kind of get the painting done. And like I said, the insulation for the cab, this stuff's going to go on the inside. It's lizard skin. They have sound control, and this is their sound control, and they have ceramic insulation. So we have 2 layers I have to put on the inside of the cab. The reason I'm doing this on the inside, there is people that put it on the outside, but it's like a water-based single part coating, so it's probably not as tough as like a 2K catalyzed product that's tougher and oil-based. This being water-based and single part, I was kind of worried about the durability underneath the vehicle, because like this truck's going to be driven a lot and on gravel roads, and it's not going to be a trailer queen showpiece. So I was kind of concerned with this stuff chipping off. I don't know if it would or not. It's just kind of my worry. So I'm going to put it on the inside of the cab, and I'm going to spray the roof, and if I have some left over, I'm going to spray the inside of the doors, just to kind of keep things quiet. And the insulation will help keep the heat out. And I got this stuff, Raptor liner. I'm going to put this on the bottom side of the cab. It's kind of like just a spray bed coating, but I'm just putting that. It's a 2K catalyzed product that has activator, and it should be a lot tougher, and it's going to also help with the insulation part and the sound deadening, even though it's not a sound deadening product, but it will add another layer on the bottom. So it should really help with the sound in this truck and make it nice pleasant place to be in. And so that's going to go on the bottom side of the cab. I don't know if I'm putting it on the bottom side of the bed. It seems kind of silly to put it on the bottom side of the bed, but then, I kind of want everything to look the same. So I don't know what I'm doing there yet. Let me know what you guys think. Should I just paint the bottom of the bed white and just do the Raptor liner on the bottom of the cab, or just go do the Raptor liner on the bed too? I don't know. We'll see how that, I got enough to do both, but we'll see how it goes. But for now, I'm going to finish stripping the cab down. I'm going to get the bed, or the cab, bodywork start on the bed, do rust repair I need to do. There's some spots on the roof I have to fix the bottom of those doors, and there's a spot in the rocker there I need to fix, and then we'll start blocking this cab out and getting it ready for body work. So it should be pretty straight. It's not terrible by any means, just that major parts of the rust repair is where I'm gonna have to do a lot of the body work. So I'm gonna get started on that. I'm gonna try to fill you guys in along the way, and we'll see how it turns out. Alright guys, we got the cab pulled off the frame, so expose everything on the engine and everything. Might give you a little better shot of the shift linkage I was talking about earlier. So this goes up to the steering column and then, you know, goes down there to the transmission. See if I can do it by hand. You can see it moving. So that's how all that works. Basically nothing else to see here but just stock Super Duty stuff. Got the cab over here on the lift, and yesterday after I put the camera down, I actually went and picked this thing up. This popped up local to me on the marketplace, and it was price on it was kind of high, and then yesterday he lowered the price, so I was like, ah, since I'm pulling this thing off the lift and getting ready to do rust repair and body work, I thought, I'll message him, see what he wants to do. And he was willing to negotiate, and I went and looked at it and brought it home. It's actually a really beefy rotisserie. It's a lot beefier than I need for just doing cab work and like beds and stuff. You know, this would be for a full body car. I actually took a big long extension out of it here and made it a lot shorter. And I'm still going to end up making it shorter yet, I think, to have to fit the cab. But it's a really beefy unit. The thing I liked about it is these big pneumatic tires, and it actually has a hitch right here that you just hook on it and pull it around. This pivots, where a lot of the rotisseries, pretty much all of them you find online, just have little caster wheels. Some of them are a little bit bigger, but still they're just little caster wheels. And going out on the gravel out here, they wouldn't do it. Even this lip here on the shop, it would throw a fit about. And these big old tires, I had it hooked on my four-wheeler and was dragging around out here in the gravel. And this thing is awesome, and it's easy to move by hand too with these big tires. See it turn and roll, and it moves nice and easy. You don't hit an extension cord and get hung up and stuff like that. So really happy with this. We'll see how it works when I get it on the cab. It is a little rusty. I don't think it was ever painted to begin with, and I do believe this is a factory made product. I couldn't find the manufacturer for it. I tried to Google as best I could like, I don't know, I used a rotisserie with big tires, rotisserie with pneumatic tires. Tried to figure out everything I could to find a brand name for this or something, and all I found was 2 for sale listings in old forums back in like 2010, 2012. People listing rotisseries just like this for sale. So I know it's a factory made piece. I just couldn't find the name for it. If you guys know, let me know in the comments if you guys have ever seen this before and kind of know what the brand name is. But I think whoever it is, whoever makes it, it's not being produced anymore. So we'll see how it works out. It does have jacks that go here. I have one installed over there. I had to put one over here just to change the level. And then this balances your project. So I don't think it's as user friendly as the stuff you buy now online, but I think the big tires made that part worth it for me to be able to just hook it on, and I can drag it out here and move it in a different shop or move it around to the other part of the shop if I need to. That kind of stuff will make that a lot easier. And even dragging it up on the trailer with it on the chassis, like going to the sandblasters. If I have a different cab on here, I can drag this thing up on the trailer with that hitch and take it to the sandblasters, and they'll have it on a rotisserie where they can do the job a lot easier, and probably save them some time. And time is money when you're paying somebody else by the hour, so make the job cheaper as well. But I'm gonna get figuring this thing out and get the cab on this rotisserie here, and I'll show you guys how it all works out when I get it figured out. All right guys, I got the cab on the rotisserie and got it all kind of sorted out. It was a little bit of a learning curve getting everything kind of sorted out. I think he used a Mustang on this last time, and everything was like completely wrong for pickup, but I made it work, I think. Biggest thing was getting these things level. I still could probably use a little bit more adjustment up to get the balance right, but it worked pretty good. Just have a little bit of drag on it, and the cab rotates really nice and easy here. So, you know, just one hand up here, you can just turn it. I do have a little bit of drag on the bolt just so it doesn't get away from me, since I don't have it perfectly balanced. But and plus you can pick it up and it just stays there, and then, you know, obviously tighten those bolts down when you're working on it. But overall, I think everything worked pretty good on it. I can't spin it all the way around, I can pick it up a little bit higher, but man, it seems like it's getting pretty high up in the air. It did have a deal to lower that rod down, and it's like almost touching the ground, but then it drug, like when I went outside the shop off the concrete, it would drag on that, and get it in and off the trailer would make it harder. So I took that out of it. In fact, you can see it here. It's just a little drop bracket that drops that connecting beam down lower, and it would give you more clearance, but it's really not bad. See if I can get it spun up here for you guys. So there's some sandblasting dust running out of this thing. It hits that bottom, so I could go up a few more inches, I guess, and it would clear. But really, the only thing I'd be doing under here is whenever I'm actually going to be coating the bottom side here. So this, I could make it work, and it would, you know, I could spray it and not have to jack it up even higher. So we'll just see how it does. I'll fill you guys in with as I'm doing some work. But doing stuff like this right here, I'm going to have to fix this, and I still have to weld in a little bit right here where I splice the two cabs together. So doing stuff like that, instead of doing it on the lift up in the air, you know, upside down, this, it just makes it right here, and you're not welding upside down and being in an uncomfortable area. And same with this cab corner here. This does kind of get in the way. I put on these longer arms to kind of get this kind of stuck further out from the actual rotation part of it. But I guess I could cut this off if I wanted to, but then it kind of limits you in the future if you want to do anything else. So I'm probably just going to work around it. But I have to do this cab corner here, and I'll do the inner part, and then these doors. The doors are another thing. I probably should have taken them off. The only thing with this door, the rear doors, is they are set from the factory. I guess I could mark the holes and take them off, but you know, like the door jambs and the everything for the door seals and everything is correct, or at least going to be ballpark close. When I put new door seals in it, it's going to change it. But just was trying to avoid as much door setup as I could. But I think it'll be easier to do that as far as, you know, working on the inside and the outside and everything with the doors off, because I have them tied together now. Because obviously if you swing it around with them not tied together, they're going to swing open and then hit the ground and bend up your door. So I'm going to play around with this and kind of see how I like it, working on stuff. But overall, I think a lot of it is just being more comfortable. So when you're working on stuff and getting in a, you know, easier to get to location, and welding in a more comfortable location, and then especially doing body work on like the roof, instead of like being up on a ladder and reaching over it, I can just spin it around where it's down here flat, and I can just work on it down like that. So I think things like that is going to be a real benefit, and we'll see how it works for everything else. So overall, I'll fill you guys in once I get some work done, and I'll let you know what I think. Well, I have the cab pulled over here on the rotisserie and started inspecting things and kind of getting a game plan together. I'm going to start over here on this rear cab corner here. I had the exterior panel here, and I actually went and sourced the interior panel. This comes from Carolina Classics F100. They make these pieces right here, and they actually make the full replacement piece that is everything all the way up to the top of the cab where it spot welds into the back of the cab there. Before, they only made like a patch panel that was only like half of this is the lower section, but now they make this full piece. And the reason I went with that instead of on this side, if you remember, I used part of the donor cab, the part of the cab, the truck that we used the front firewall and floor section for to fix this cab. It had good cab corners on it, and I used the rear section on this all the way up to here and here, and the piece on the interior as well was all from that same truck and all still welded together. So I patched it together using the original stuff. And the reason I couldn't do it on this side is it has this rust way up here from the liner that this had in it, or undercoating stuff. It caked up in here and I guess held moisture and rusted way up in here, and there was no good way to splice that factory Ford piece in here and get it up in here, because to access those spot welds up here you have to cut all this out, and I can't do that at the same time because those pieces are welded together. I could cut them apart, I guess, But I'm going to save that for another repair on a truck that doesn't have the rust way up in there. So since I'll have to have all this cut out anyway, I thought, well, I'll just use this piece and weld in new pieces like this, and we'll go with that kind of repair. So I'm going to work on that. I still have the doors to do. I think I'm going to yank the doors off to do those. Probably should have done that before we got on the rotisserie, but it'll be easy enough to take off. Yeah, I was kind of getting excited on this project because I thought I was really getting further along, because, you know, got the engine all working, started all the wiring on the routing on the wiring, got all that mounted, all the modules where I wanted them, got the wiring all sorted, and started the body work on the bed. The bed's actually ready to prime right now. And then I kind of had to come back to reality. Hey, you still got rust to fix on the cab that you haven't touched. So I have to fix all this stuff. It's going to take me a while to knock all this stuff out, but I'll get it knocked out. It's just kind of cutting and welding stuff I'm really good at. It just takes time. I got to be patient because it's thin metal. I'm used to working with thick metal where you can just blaze and turn up the heat and get it all knocked out. But this stuff, you got to be delicate with it, or you're going to be causing more problems than you're fixing. So I'm going to get going on that, and hopefully I can get some of that knocked out. But I think we're going to call it quits on this episode, guys, just so it's not drawn out so long and you guys are waiting forever for episodes. I'm going to try to do a better job of doing more in-depth stuff, and not like 2 months of working, me kind of just here and there what I've been doing, and then put out a video. Try to do more like, oh, it's been a couple weeks, this is what I've been working on, and here's the update video. So we're going to call this video quits. I'm really excited. I got this rotisserie. I'm loving it so far, and just being able to access the truck with it like this, and like especially doing this cab corner and showing you guys. I can just pull the cab up and show you guys, and it's a lot easier than getting underneath the truck and like on your back or in the lift and cranking your neck and working upside down. I'm loving this so far, so I'm really excited about that. I'm going to get started on rust repair. I'm going to try to keep the camera in my hand so you guys can see it. So if you want to see that, guys, subscribe for more. Like this video if you like this project. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching, guys.